The median home price in South Florida has nearly doubled in the last 5 years. Now, a lot has been going on in South Florida. A lot has been going on in the entire state of Florida. So where exactly does this leave us right now in 2024, heading into 2025? Okay, so before we talk about 2025, let's talk about what's been going on in South Florida. And if you're new to this channel, I get questions all the time like, should I buy a house now or should I wait? Should I sell my house now or did I miss the boat? And I pretty much give everybody the same answer, kind of, which is it depends on your goals specifically and your unique situation. But I think it's a good time to talk about what's going on in the real estate market now, where it's predicted to be heading in 2025 and beyond, and why we are where we are in the first place. So let's rewind back to the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Now, I'm not going to touch on this for too long because basically everybody already knows what happened. Everybody and their mother decided to move to Florida, and the cost of living shot up. Just to give you an idea, when I moved here to Fort Lauderdale back in 2019, the cost of living was only about 2.5% higher than the national average. Compared to now in 2024, it is just about 20% higher than the national average. The population grew here rapidly. I mean, net migration to the state was well over 1 million. I don't know the exact number, but I think it was somewhere around 1.3 million since 2019. And Florida saw one of the highest net migrations just last year in 2023, bringing about over 300,000 people to the state. And that's net. And about 17% of that was to South Florida, with the rest pretty much being to the Tampa and Orlando area. The population growth alone is a major reason for the cost of living and cost of housing increase. Supply and demand. And speaking of supply and demand, if you demand that I supply these videos, I recommend subscribing to the channel so you don't miss anything about moving to or living in South Florida. Sorry, I had to. But let's fast forward to 2021, 2022. Rates were sub 3%. The market couldn't keep up. And not only did the market go insane, but we also dealt with the insurance fiasco where a majority of the insurers either left the state or went bankrupt due to excessive litigation or fraudulent insurance claims. I said at the beginning of the video that the median sales price nearly doubled in the last 5 years. To be exact, it went up about 77%, from about $365,000 back in 2019 to $645,000 so far here in 2024. And this was pulled directly from the MLS, and you can see on this chart here that the last 2 years that it's still growing, but the growth has slowed a little bit. So where does this leave us today? Well, we're here at the end of 2024. It was an election year. Real estate always gets weird during election years. This is now my second election year in the industry. I've been in the business, I think about 7 or 8 years. And there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of wait and see. What's gonna happen with new policies, tax changes, interest rates? Who's gonna leave the country if their candidate doesn't win? But it really all boils down to the local market, depending on a certain candidate's position on housing, taxes, and development. And speaking in broader terms, generally in the entire US, home sales are at their lowest point in the last 14 years, and that's per Reuters. And I hope I'm saying that right because I know you guys like to roast me in the comments when I pronounce things wrong. But it's been a tough year for real estate. The rising prices, the interest rates, selling a home was just very unattractive, especially to those homeowners who maybe bought a house in 2021 and they locked in a sub 3% interest rate. There's no reason for them to sell right now, so they can go buy something at a much higher price and get a 6.5%, 7% rate. It just doesn't make sense for them. And at the same time, entry-level homes are much harder to find because of the prices, especially for first-time home buyers. Now, for the first time in a couple years, local inventory is up, and I know that may not even make sense compared to what I just said about homeowners not wanting to sell because they have a low fixed interest rate. But there are still a lot of homeowners that are deciding to sell in the chance that the market does cool down quite a bit. And then you have homeowners that have substantial equity in their houses. Maybe they bought cash, or maybe they bought their house 30 years ago, or maybe they have a second home that they're just looking to get rid of. And then of course you have the people that just need to sell because of job transfers or, life happens. And then there's the people that are leaving Florida. And you have two different groups of people. You have the people who are completely leaving the state of Florida, Or you have the people who are just leaving South Florida and they're moving further north, more towards Central Florida, Orlando, or towards the Tampa area where the cost of living is much lower than down here, but the growth is still there. But people are leaving Florida for various reasons, and you could watch this video here for more info on that. And then something else that I've noticed specifically with my clients is a lot of people are just leaving the cities. They're selling their home in the cities, whether it's Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and they're moving out to the suburbs, looking for more space, something a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more calmer, a little bit more affordable, and different schooling options. So that's the reason for the higher inventory while the demand is just not quite there right now. So now what does the future hold? It's safe to say the population is gonna keep growing. Florida is gonna keep growing. Not to the levels that we saw maybe in 2021 through 2023, as we already have seen it trending downward. But something that I am predicting is that the suburbs are making a comeback. And let me explain, because there was a point in time where everybody wanted to be in the city at one point, whether that was in the city of Fort Lauderdale, in the city of Miami, kind of in the mix of everything where just everything is going on. Buyers are leaning more towards long-term thinking, whether it's affordability, schools, or exclusivity, just living in an area with more gated communities like Parkland or Weston. One of our clients who just moved down here, he had been looking in Miami about 2 years ago. And he's a smart guy. He started thinking a little bit more long-term, thinking about his growing family, wanting a little bit more peace, maybe to live in a neighborhood with amenities that had a little bit more sense of community. So he wound up choosing Parkland. He started looking in Miami, wound up settling in Parkland. Parkland and Miami, apples and oranges. You can't even compare them. I also believe Palm Beach County is going to have a strong 5 years ahead of itself. The growth there has been insane. It's only going to get better with Vanderbilt building its $525 million campus in downtown West Palm Beach. And having a major university campus locally that's focusing on data, business, and AI can only do good things for the economy. And the big thing with Palm Beach County that I think is going to explode the growth is something that you just can't find as much of in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, and that's the opportunity for development. They have the space to build out west, kind of west of West Palm Beach, in areas like Westlake, which is a brand new city, Palm Beach Gardens, Lake Worth, Delray Beach. I can think of 10 to 15 new construction communities that are already out there that we will be making videos on in the future. But like I said, that's just something that's kind of harder to find the closer you get to Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Mortgage rates are expected to decline gradually in 2025, but not to those pre-pandemic levels like everybody wants. And I've heard predictions from places like Fannie Mae saying that the average fixed 30-year rate will fall somewhere from about 6% to 6.2% by the end of 2025. Buyers are starting to accept the fact that these 3 to 4% rates just aren't coming back anytime soon. And if they want to move, they have to accept this 6 to 7% right now. And as far as home prices go, no signs of a crash. I know a lot of you do not want to hear that right now. But if you notice from the chart that I showed you earlier, the growth is slowing. And the Miami Association of Realtors projects about a 6.5% increase in 2025, 9.7% for single family homes. So the 6.5% increase is for all homes. But like I mentioned earlier in this video, growth is happening, and while it may feel uncomfortable right now, it can only mean good things for the future. So I hope you got value from this video, and if you're thinking of buying or selling anywhere in South Florida, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice and connect with you one-on-one to help make your move to South Florida as smooth as possible. Reach out to us at any time or go to the link in my description to get started. See you on the next one.